Am I the whole for not funding my niece's Halloween wedding after just paying for her sister's? Turns out my no was the catalyst for uncovering a hidden financial struggle and an immediate courthouse marriage. My heart still swells with pride when I think about Dawn's wedding. My oldest niece, the radiant bride, got married on September 5th this year, and I was deeply involved. Back in April, when she first announced her engagement, she asked me to handle all the centerpieces and decorations and be her maid of honor. I was absolutely thrilled. It felt like such an honor, and I dove into the task with immense dedication. For 4 solid months, I worked my butt off. It was genuinely hard work, a whirlwind of planning, sourcing materials, and crafting, but I pulled it off. And the best part? Dawn was over the moon with how our wedding turned out. She'd given me free rein with the decor, telling me to do whatever I wanted, and thankfully, both she and everyone else at the wedding absolutely loved it. The vision I had, the hours I poured into it, all paid off in those joyful smiles and compliments. But then, at the reception, amid the laughter and celebration, my youngest niece, Leah, who's only 18, decided it was the perfect moment to make her own big announcement. She and her boyfriend were getting married on Halloween this year. I was busy at the time, caught up in the flow of the reception, and I vaguely heard her say something, but it didn't really register beyond a passing thought. I tucked it away in the back of my mind, assuming it was just youthful exuberance, maybe a fantasy. I didn't truly process it until this afternoon, when my phone rang. It was Dawn. She sounded a bit exasperated, which immediately put me on alert. Leah had called her, apparently, to announce that she'd bought her wedding dress. And then came the kicker. Leah told Dawn that since Dawn makes amazing cakes, she wants her to do her wedding cake. And then, the next bombshell. She loved what you did for my wedding, Auntie, so she wants you to do hers as well. On one hand, I'm genuinely glad to be the person she wants to decorate her wedding. It's flattering, a testament to the effort I put into Dawn's special day. But almost immediately, a whole cascade of issues flooded my mind. This isn't just a simple request. It brings up a shitload of problems and, honestly, a lot of stress. Issue 1. My much-needed trip. 3 months ago, my mother, who's 60, and I booked a trip. We're going out of town that exact weekend Leah has picked for her wedding, Halloween. Call me selfish if you want, but Mom and I have been really looking forward to this trip. Our lives have been a bit of a whirlwind lately, with all sorts of personal stresses, and this time away is genuinely needed. We've talked about it constantly, planning out every detail, counting down the days. It's not just a vacation. It's a much-anticipated escape, a chance to decompress and reconnect. The thought of canceling it, or even rescheduling it, after months of anticipation, feels like a cruel blow. It's not just about losing money, though that's a factor. It's about losing that mental break, that promised respite. It feels incredibly unfair that her spontaneous, last-minute decision might derail something we've had planned for so long. Issue 2, the money pit. This is probably the biggest, most immediate problem. For Dawn's wedding, I paid for all the supplies and materials needed for the centerpieces and decorations. I told her it would be my husband's and my wedding gift to her. I wanted her to have really nice stuff, things I knew she couldn't afford on her own, and she truly was over the moon. At that time, I had the money to do it. My finances were stable, and I could absorb the cost. Then, 2 weeks before Dawn's wedding, my life took a dramatic turn. My husband and I moved into a new house. The very next day, I got laid off from my job.
Just like that. Poof.
So now, my money is incredibly tight. I have a family to help support, and every dollar counts. My savings are being carefully managed, and unnecessary expenses are simply not an option. And now, Leah, through Dawn, has informed me that she has zero money for decorations and the cake. Let that sink in. Zero money. This means she's expecting Dawn to make the entire wedding cake and pay for all the ingredients. And she's expecting me to pay for all the decor and centerpieces, just like I did for Dawn. With Dawn and myself having just paid for Dawn's wedding expenses, Dawn for the cake and me for the decor, we are both completely tapped out. We literally don't have extra funds. On top of that, she's apparently expecting my parents to pay for all the food, simply because they helped pay for the food at Dawn's wedding. It's a completely unrealistic expectation, bordering on audacious. It's like she thinks we have an endless well of money and time, specifically for her, without any consideration for our own lives or recent financial setbacks. The sheer audacity of this request, given my current financial situation, is frankly insulting. It feels like she's not asking for help. She's making demands based on what we did for her older sister, completely ignoring our current circumstances. It's a completely different ballgame now. Issue 3. The perilous outdoor venue. And then there's the wedding date itself. October 30th. We live in southern Indiana. The weather in the Midwest this time of year is notoriously unpredictable. It can be mild and sunny, or it can be cold and rainy, or, God forbid, even snow. And Leah has picked my parents' farm as the wedding location. The crucial detail here is that it's 100% outside. There is absolutely nowhere to go if it rains, or if it snows, or if it's freezing cold. No barn, no covered patio, no large tent on standby. Nothing. It's completely exposed to the elements. The throbbing in my wrist continues, a constant companion that has, ironically, led me down an unexpected path of self-discovery. The past few days, since the revelation about my husband's car and his hidden struggles, have been a whirlwind. But beyond the immediate crisis of getting to work, there was the looming shadow of Lee's wedding, a situation that had been simmering with its own unique brand of chaos. And honestly, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Leah is, and always has been, a colossal pain in the neck. She's the kind of person who thinks just because she says this is what I want, the universe and everyone in it should immediately hop to it and make it happen. She can be incredibly, infuriatingly difficult just for the sake of it. Take the maid of honor dress for Dawn, for example. Dawn, bless her heart, asked Leah what kind of dress she should look for. Lee's profound answer? Whatever. Just whatever. Then there's her vision for her wedding. A Nightmare Before Christmas themed cake, navy blue as the only confirmed color, and absolutely no other thoughts about anything else. It's truly baffling. So, she expects Dawn to conjure up an entire elaborate cake theme, and she expects me to design and create all the decorations and centerpieces, all from scratch, with no input, no budget, and seemingly no appreciation. And here's the kicker with Leah. Even though she purposely doesn't give you any specific guidance or desires, whatever you come up with, whatever you give her, will inevitably not be good enough or right. She will, without a doubt, throw a fit. A full-blown tantrum. This is precisely why I had to stop buying her anything for Christmas and her birthday years ago. Nothing was ever good enough. She'd always freak out, so I simply stopped giving her gifts. It was the only way to avoid the inevitable drama. For days, as I wrestled with my own commute issues and the unexpected layers of my husband's pride, Lee's wedding plans were a simmering anxiety in the background. My brain, the default problem solver that it is, kept trying to find a way to fix it, to make it work, to somehow magically pull off another wedding for her without losing my sanity or my remaining savings. It's ingrained in me, this need to be the fixer, the person who steps in and makes things right. But then, after about 3 days of mulling over this whole mess, something shifted. I had reached out, not to Leah or Dawn, but to a few trusted friends, laying out the entire saga. The broken wrist, the husband's secret, Lee's demands, my finances, the trip. And what I heard back was a chorus of voices, all saying essentially the same thing, but from perspectives that I was just too close to see. It hit me like a ton of bricks. It wasn't just one thing, but the cumulative weight of their advice, the clear, rational questions they asked, the undeniable truth in their observations. They showed me, unequivocally, that none of this was my problem. Not Lee's lack of planning. Not her unrealistic expectations. Not her demanding nature. And, crucially, it was absolutely not my responsibility to do anything at all in this situation. It was a profound realization. I had been viewing Lee's impending wedding, and my perceived role in it, as a problem that I needed to solve. My default setting as the fixer had kicked in so hard that I couldn't see the forest for the trees. I used to be like a scared field mouse, absolutely terrified to say no to people. Sometimes, the mere thought of refusing a request, even an unreasonable one, would bring me to tears. The anxiety of potentially disappointing someone, of not being perceived as helpful or nice, was crippling. It was a fear that controlled a significant part of my interactions. My husband, always my biggest supporter, said I can practice on him whenever I need to. We're going to start working on it today. It's going to be awkward, I know. It's going to feel uncomfortable at first because it's so deeply ingrained in me to avoid any form of perceived conflict or disapproval. But I'm ready to try. This entire chaotic episode, painful as it has been in many ways, has provided a powerful catalyst for change. I'm realizing that my willingness to constantly solve other people's problems, to be the endless source of help and resources, has enabled some less than ideal behaviors in others, like Lee's entitlement. It's also drained me, both emotionally and financially. This new resolve to set boundaries, to protect my time and resources, feels empowering. It's not about being selfish. It's about self-preservation and healthy relationships. Sunday night, after a lot of internal debate and practicing my newfound no with my husband, I finally called my mom. I laid out everything. Lee's spontaneous wedding announcement, her expectation that Dawn and I would fund and create everything, the ridiculous date, and most importantly, our planned trip. I explained that for once, I was putting my foot down. My husband and I will be going on our trip. It's booked, it's paid for, and after everything we've been through lately, we desperately need that time away. To my immense relief, Mom didn't hesitate. She actually laughed and said, "Don't you worry. Leah has lost her damn mind if she thinks any of us will pay for anything." Her immediate support was a huge comfort. I then urged her to call my dad before my sister, Lee's mother, had a chance to get to him and potentially twist the story. Dad, predictably, had the exact same reaction as Mom. He was baffled by Lee's assumptions and completely on board with not paying for anything. He decided he needed to get to the bottom of it, so he called Lee's dad, my brother-in-law, to find out exactly what was going on. Lee's dad, my brother-in-law, was just as bewildered as we were. He confirmed that he had already told Leah that since he just bought her a car and his business was getting ready to shut down for the winter, he simply could not afford a wedding for her this year. He had been very clear. He told her to put the wedding off until around May of next year, explaining that would give him enough time to save up and plan properly. Apparently, Leah did not take this well. She lost her mind, her dad said. There was a lot of screaming, a lot of yelling, and finally, she shrieked, "I'll pay for it myself." And in Lee's deluded mind, that somehow translated into, "I'll make sure everyone else pays for it." It's classic Leah, honestly. She demands what she wants, assumes everyone will jump, and then acts surprised when reality bites. My dad, God bless him, didn't mince words. He told my brother-in-law that he needed to make it crystal clear to Leah that not a single one of us, not her grandparents, my parents, not her Aunt Me, not her older sister, Dawn, would ever pay for her to get married, ever. If she absolutely had to get married right away, then her only option was the courthouse. Period. There would be no elaborate family-funded affair. Later that night, Lee's dad called my dad back again. He had sat Leah down, he said, and demanded to know why she was pushing for a wedding so soon, with such an unrealistic timeline and budget. And that's when the real reason finally came out. It turns out her boyfriend is joining the Navy. And in their combined 18-year-old wisdom, they thought it would be a good idea to get married before he shipped off. Young love and impulsive decisions, fueled by the impending separation. It made a strange kind of sense, even if the execution was utterly bizarre. Lee's dad reiterated the family's stance. None of us are paying anything for her wedding. If she absolutely had to get married before her boyfriend left, it would have to be at the courthouse. There would be no big wedding this year, full stop. After another hour of yelling, screaming, and what I can only imagine was a torrent of teenage angst, Leah finally conceded. She said fine. She would just move the wedding to next year. And honestly, a part of me breathes a huge sigh of relief. This takes so much pressure off. But another, more cynical part of me, knowing Leah, can totally see this whole wedding thing just fading away. Her boyfriend is going away, likely for an extended period. I wouldn't be surprised if she finds a new guy while he's gone, and this whole marriage plan just quietly disappears. It wouldn't be the first time Lee's grand plans have fizzled out. So, the trip is saved. My money is safe. And I don't have to spend the next few months dealing with Lee's unreasonable demands and inevitable tantrums over wedding decor. It's a huge weight off my shoulders. My wrist still aches, but my mind feels significantly clearer. And the irony of learning to say no, and then having the universe conspire to say no for me, is not lost on me. It feels like a small victory, not just for my wallet and my vacation plans, but for my mental well-being. The next day, I found out Leah got married on Tuesday. Yes, Tuesday. Absolutely no one in the family knew about it, not even Lee's own mother, my sister. This whole revelation came about because Dawn, bless her heart, called her mom today. Dawn was still trying to reason with my sister, trying to convince her that it was a terrible idea for Leah to rush into marriage. Dawn, ever the voice of reason, must have laid out all the arguments we discussed, Lee's age, her impulsive nature, the lack of funds, the sheer absurdity of the proposed timeline. And my sister's response? A casual, almost dismissive, "Well, it's kinda too late for that now." Dawn, naturally, was floored. "What the hell does that mean?" she demanded. That's when my sister dropped the bombshell. Leah and her boyfriend snuck off and got married at the courthouse on Tuesday. But it didn't stop there. My sister, in a classic move, immediately tried to shift the blame. She actually tried to act like Leah had no choice, that this whole hurried, secret courthouse marriage was somehow my fault. According to her twisted logic, I somehow possessed the magical power to tell my parents not to pay for a wedding. And since I, in my supreme selfishness, apparently thought my pre-booked trip was more important than Lee's immediate gratification and refused to let Mom cancel our plans, what was poor Leah supposed to do? What choice did she have but to run off to the courthouse? The audacity of it made my blood boil, even though it also made me laugh. Dawn, being the incredible person she is, immediately went off on her mom. She vehemently stuck up for me, pointing out the absurdity of my sister's claims and defending my right to take a trip I'd planned for months. I didn't hear the whole exchange, but knowing Dawn, I can picture her articulate fury. Here's the thing, though, I couldn't care less if my sister is blaming me. Her words hold no weight in my life. I cut my sister out of my life 6 years ago. It was a difficult decision, born out of years of similar manipulative behavior, emotional toxicity, and constant drama. It was the best decision I ever made for my own peace of mind. So, anything she says about me, any blame she tries to cast, simply means nothing. It's like background noise, easily ignored. She's irrelevant to my emotional well-being now. Dawn, despite her anger at our sister, also had a conversation with Leah. Apparently, Leah is already planning for a real wedding next year. This is where Dawn truly shone. She told her mom, directly and unequivocally, that when Leah does have this real wedding, she is not to ask Dawn for a cake, and she is not to ask me to decorate. Dawn made it crystal clear that neither of us will help in any way. She even told me, with a mock-threatening grin, that she's going to beat me if I even think about helping. I just laughed and told her not to worry about it. My days of being the designated fixer and silent ATM for Lee's whims are officially over. This entire ordeal, from my broken wrist to Lee's impulsive antics, has solidified my resolve to set firm boundaries. So yeah, that's that, I guess. Leah is married, much sooner and much more quietly than anyone anticipated. It's an outcome that, while shocking in its suddenness, isn't entirely surprising given Lee's impulsive nature and my sister's enablements. A cynical part of me, the part that's been honed by years of family drama, can't help but wonder about the longevity of this courthouse marriage. Her boyfriend is joining the Navy, which means long periods of separation. I can totally see Leah, with her history of flitting from one obsession to another, finding a new guy while he's gone, and this whole wedding next year thing, along with this quickie marriage, quietly fading away. Honestly, I hope my sister has saved up some money, because I have a strong feeling she's going to be paying for a divorce a lot sooner than she'll be paying for any real wedding. My wrist still aches, but my mind is incredibly clear. The stress of Lee's demands is gone, replaced by a quiet satisfaction that I stood my ground, and that my family, at least the rational members, stood with me. This entire incident, while frustrating, has been a powerful lesson in boundaries and self-preservation. And for that, I am, strangely enough, almost grateful. Thank you for listening to my story. I wish you well-being. Hope you achieve everything you want. All the best.